Hey, what's happening? I am live on the internet and I'm here with my buddy, Maddie. Come here. Come on. Can you see her? There she is. Sorry, that was a little distraction. I know it's late. It's 11:12 in Nashville, Tennessee. Heading to Ohio tomorrow at some point. Or actually, I'm heading halfway to Ohio tomorrow. And I am Mike, co-host of the Crushing Iron podcast, and I'm doing a countdown to Ironman, Wisconsin, whether you like it or not. I thought I would kind of hold myself accountable and see what happens here as we go in. It helps me learn. It helps hopefully some other people learn some things about Wisconsin, because I will be talking about the race, the course, the city, the whole 9 yards. I'm from Wisconsin, and we are 47 days away from that big race without the mass start swim. So can we please get that back in the meantime? Speaking of which, I swam today, hit the pool, outside pool. Man, it was some niceness there. It was actually a little bit cool here today, in the maybe high 70s, 80s, low 80s kind of thing. And I got over there, had the lane to myself. Well, shared with a lovely older lady for a bit, and then I had it to myself for a long time. And again, I'm just trying to build up my endurance in the water, and seems to be going pretty well. I put about 2,500 in a day, 2,350, I think, depending on which Garmin you read. I have Sunto, so I do have Garmin Connect, I guess, but I've never used it, and I use a Sunto, and I have a page somewhere, but normally I just enter my data in Training Peaks manually because I am old school. And the swim, again, I'm just trying to find that form, trying to get in a groove. And today I felt pretty good and left the pool. I think my watch was counting wrong or whatever, but I thought I had 2,500, but whatever. Anyway, I felt like I could keep going, but I got out on top. And I am a recovery week right now, so I didn't want to push it too far. We talked a lot about that on the podcast we recorded today, which will be out tomorrow if I don't forget to put it up there. And what did we call this one? Man, I can't even remember. Oh, when good is better than great. It's about how just solid workouts add up over time, and they produce great results rather than going out and trying to have great workouts all the time. And that's exactly what I did today at the pool. And then did a bunch of work. I'm working on the new website that I hope to debut sometime, maybe around the race at Wisconsin. That would be kind of fun. But I'm learning a lot of new things, and we're pulling together a lot of assets to put out there on the new website. So if you have any suggestions for what you think would make an awesome website, feel free to let me know. crushingiron@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me. And so, yeah, but the pool, man, it was just like one of those things where the perfect temperature, it was cloudy a little bit, but mainly sunny, and it wasn't too hot. And there's just nothing like swimming outside for me. I really enjoyed it. And I'm trying to think if anything happened over there. Not much. It was pretty uneventful. It's an interesting pool because they have there's kids on one side, and then there's one lane, and then they have these water slides and all this activity going on. So there's really actually a weird current when you're swimming over there, which I like. You kind of have to battle it when you get down to one end, because it's right where the slide, like, water comes out, and it's just pushing you right into the side. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. It's a good little practice for when you're out there in the open water, which I hope to get out in the Ohio lake when we get up there this weekend. That'll be fun. I haven't been in the open water in a while, but we have a camp coming up as well, so we'll be doing some swimming out there. And I hope to get out to the lake. I like to get out there like my half a dozen times before the race and just put in some longer swims and instead of doing what I like to do, I like to do hundreds and 200s and 500s and things like that. And I want to get out there and there's like a around the buoys is about 1,000. So you go 1,000, maybe take a little break and then go for it again and kind of start building up that long endurance because I'm really hoping to get out of that water. I've only had one swim and it was Louisville. Well, last year didn't count because it was shortened, but one Louisville swim where I felt really good coming out of the water. I felt like I didn't really burn myself. But a lot of times I get that last 500 and I'm just kind of gassed. So I'm really trying to figure out a way to kind of pace myself in the water. That's really what I'm into right now. And just getting stronger and doing a lot of push-ups and core work and things like that. And I think it's kind of paying off a little bit. So then later tonight, I went out for a run. I had a 45-minute run with some strides in there, a few pickups that just to see how it's moving. And it was not, I went out later and it was maybe like 6:30, 7, and it was cool. I normally just sort of run out. I don't know. A lot of times I'll just run out without a shirt on because I end up wearing it for about the first couple miles and take it off. So I just went out tonight, and I actually almost felt a little cold, which was pretty cool. It was a nice indicator. Hopefully, it's like that at Wisconsin, and this heat training will pay off. But man, I gotta say, I run with a iPod Nano, which is old school. It's that little. It's about that big, and I more or less, have a library of songs, the same ones, and I got a bunch of them, but I'm afraid to hook it up to the internet because I'm afraid it's just going to wipe everything away. And Lord knows where I sync that iPod in the first place. So I'm kind of afraid to go in there because my iPod libraries are screwed up, and I'm sure I don't have a lot of those songs. So I just kind of leave it unconnected. And man, earlier tonight I was doing that website stuff, and I was getting a little bit testy over here. The updates and the weirdness and I just don't get it, man. If you, they just keep doing. It's just weird, man. People, I guess they got to create ways to keep you engaged. But for me, running tonight I was just engaged in breathing. I had some music going, and it was a beautiful night, and there wasn't a lot of people out there. But I do notice that when I do have see people, I end up running a little bit faster. But I try to keep it reined in. Again, simulating the beginning of a race, kind of run out slow. And as always, I ended up going close to 5 miles, and I always just try to negative split by a little bit. I'm just that mentality is where I'm at, and no matter what I'm doing, I'm just trying to finish stronger than I started. And so far, so good. But I got to say, when I came back, there's a pedestrian bridge that goes over the river where I live, and I mean, it's pretty awesome. But I run over it all the time, and a lot of times I don't even really notice how awesome it is. Tonight was the first time ever I came out of this tunnel and then out onto the bridge, coming back towards my house, and the sun was setting, and it was this beautiful orange sunset that was just like it was a globe, just a ball, just sitting there, and it was illuminating in a weird way the bridge, and there was I realized kind of that it's like one of those suspension bridges, and I've never really noticed it, and I've run over it probably 100 times, and there was something about the way it looked tonight and the way I felt with the cool air and pretty strong running, and the U2 song "Sweetest Thing" was on, and it was just like one of these moments, like I don't know if you guys ever have these, but sometimes when I'm running, I just get this kind of like feeling of joy and gratitude. It's like, man, to be able to do this kind of stuff. It wasn't that long ago when I literally couldn't run, a mile, and now I'm just going out and knocking out 45, 50 minutes like it's nothing, as like it's an off day. And I gotta say, a lot of times I'll see people at the Y, or out at the that are on crutches, or like in a wheelchair or something like that. And man, it's just like it gives me the sinking feeling, sort of in my heart. It's just like it just I don't know. I mean, like, to step back and really have gratitude about being in this sport, I think is so important. And just being able to do the things that we do. I got to, like, for me, uh, I think running and today, like swimming in open water too. But like those two things, there's not much that makes me feel better than that. Um, those are like the full body experiences that take you closer to something mystical, and I cannot deny it. And I remember when I was younger, Lenny Kravitz said that music was better than sex, and I always thought, what? Come on, dude. Because you get this sort of thing going in your head, but I get that, and I think like and of course that means that maybe I just haven't had whatever. I'm going down a really weird rabbit hole now, but there's just like that feeling you get. There's Maddie back there. Look at her. She's such a good dog. She's she's just so good. She doesn't do anything bad. Um, and anyway, yeah. So like that feeling, that running feeling, and a lot of times when I'm running, I sort of just drift off into the course at Wisconsin and imagine, that I'm kind of running along that lake, the last 10K, when you go back on that trail and you hit that 10K, and you just gotta pull it together and get 6 miles in. And then I was just thinking about too that last stretch through those neighborhoods when you're running. A lot of people are coming back out or whatever, and you're finishing, and you turn on a State Street and you see all those people, and then you see the Capitol right at the top of the hill, and I mean that Capitol is just beautiful, and with the lights on it and all that kind of stuff. And the idea, and I always say about Wisconsin is like Louisville has a good finish line and everybody likes it a lot. But when I think about Wisconsin, I think about the finish line starting at the bottom of State Street, and it's 2 blocks up. Then you hit the Capitol area, and then you run 1 block, and then another block, and then half a block before you hit the finisher chute in Madison. And I count all that sort of as the finish line because there's so many people, and you're coming home, and it's just an awesome feeling when you hit the bottom of State Street and get up there. So um, that's the kind of stuff, man. I try not to obsess about the race. It's hard sometimes because it's just, yeah, you have that out there as a target, and that's what you're training for. But like today's workouts were just like, man, I could see doing this for a long time, and hopefully I can. But anyway, so thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in here. It's been awesome. It's 11:26 now, and as far as I know, nobody has really watched this live. I know people are watching it because I get texts and everything like that. But I was thinking about just starting to record it not live, but I don't think that. I don't mind. I think knowing that it's live is kind of has something cool about it, and then you get to see it later, and hopefully there's something in here that is worth watching. But if not, sorry. But as Steve, who was it? I don't know, one of my favorite authors. I remember the exact quote, but he's like, oh, as William Zinsler, he's a He wrote a book called On Writing Well, and he said, you always have to write for yourself. So that's kind of where I'm coming from in these videos. I'm trying to just be myself and do what needs to be done, say what needs to be said, and hoping you guys find it interesting. But if not, tough break. All right, I'll catch you guys later.